Right, it's starting. And now you should see that the broadcast video is live now. So if
That's right.
any anybody's watching this, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Chris from Geeks on Tour, and I'm currently in Florida. And and Jim?
I'm Jim Gould from Geeks on Tour, and I'm just downstairs on a different computer in Florida, downstairs from Chris. And Phil.
Yeah, I'm a little bit further away. I'm over the pond here in a place you probably know called Met in England, where it's pretty miserable weather.
Oh.
I'm sorry, not.
I know, so sad.
But soon you'll be back in sunny Florida, and everything will be hunky-dory, I know.
That's right. I'm looking forward to it. When I first came over here, it was so hot when I left Florida. I think it was like 90 degrees. I actually went through a period of liking that weather and the wind and everything. Now I've seriously gone and now needing in dose of some serious nice Florida weather.
You're over that, huh?
Yeah, I'm completely over it. I'm cured.
So
you need to be reminded every now and again how miserable it can be, and how nice it is here.
Yeah, exactly. Reminded of why we left.
So Geeks on Tour and Techno RV, we've joined together in the past to have RV rallies that we call TechnoGeek Learning Rally, and it's because both of us live and work in RVs. So what's the deal? We are both RV-less at the moment. And Jim, you want to tell them why we are RV-less and where we are?
Yeah, we're in Fort Lauderdale right now because our rig is up in Orlando. Or no, it's in Tampa. Our rig is getting fixed at Lazy Days. We are having an issue with the slide out and the bedroom slide not going in and out properly, so we left it at Lazy Days to have them fix it. It's taken a little bit longer than we expected, and I'm sure it'll be more expensive than we ever imagined, but we are RV-less at the moment. Happily, though, we're in Fort Lauderdale. It's a very pretty place. We have a good internet connection here, and that's something that we're talking about today, that when we have the townhouse here has a cable internet connection, and it's pretty fast. It's not the fastest that's available, but it's what we have, and it works pretty good. The deal is, right now, we get spoiled because most of us RVers are using a different kind of connection. So we have a good, solid cable connection. It could be faster. What are you using over there, Phil?
So at the moment we have a cable connection, but it's been very interesting. And when we talked about the topic, I thought it was a good topic because it's very in how the connectivity that you're used to, and that you get varies depending on where you are. So currently we're staying at my sister's house, which is a kind of a little small bungalow, if you will, single building in it's kind of a rural part of, if you imagine England as your hand and London down in the bottom sort of right-hand corner. It's about 2 hours north there, sort of about half from the coast. But it's quite rural, and this is something that we found to be quite common, which when you have cable connection or DSL connection in these types of locations, you really don't get a very good connection. I mean, we're running out, from what I can, about 3 a second down. Later on in the day, it can be as low as 0.5 megasecond down, and obviously less when you're going up. It's really not a good connection. It's about a sort of about a 3G connection, if you're familiar with a cell phone. and sometimes much worse. It's been quite shocking. Now, when we go to my brother's, he lives down in Bexhill, which is a bigger town, urban, and he pays a bit more. We get much faster, more like 4G speed, sort of 10, 12 or more megabits a second. It really sort of depends where you are in the country here as to and how far you are from the exchange as to what kind of connectivity you get. So it's sort of not what I expected.
Yeah, and
it's
ours,
all over the place here too.
Having the cable connection has been extra nice in that it's just always on and always connected and no limit. So we've been enjoying streaming video, Amazon Prime, movies, night after night. But it's not that much faster than we're used to with our 4G Verizon. The last couple hangouts that we did from our RV using our phone Verizon as a hotspot, and I don't think it was much different than what we're experiencing here. I mean, the sound and the video is going in and out a little bit with us here even.
Right.
So what about when you've been traveling?
So when we travel,
wait, your sound just went blurry.
Drop off. How's it now?
There's a hum again, or.
How's that?
Just
Can you
hear
me now?
No, it's still it's still messed up. Just to explain a little bit, let me explain a little bit about the technology we're using here, which allows us to have this meeting across the pond, if you will. We're using Google Plus Hangouts on air, and it is taking care of everything you're seeing. The fact that we're connected just via the internet, and we can see all three faces down at the bottom, and whoever is talking gets the main screen, and this is all free. It's being broadcast live. We didn't tell anybody we were doing this because we didn't know how it would go, so I doubt that anybody is viewing, although I see there's one viewer. I have no idea who that is. And this will be automatically recorded at the end, so that's what we're using. All right, you want to try talking again? And Jim, is it just me that's hearing him fuzzy, or?
No, I'm hearing him fuzzy too. So and he's going in and out, and I hear that hum. So.
Okay, I'll try moving my cell phone away and see if that is adjusted to stop. So it's filled with TechnoRV. Doing a little sound check.
Okay.
Am I still fuzzy?
That is better, but there's still a buzz in the background. There, I think. Try now.
Is it gone now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's much better.
That's better.
That's good.
So that's his radio frequency interference there, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I just moved my cell phone away, so I'm on the headset, so there's more cable exposed. That's always possible.
Yeah. Oh, you sound much better now.
Okay, so back you asked me about what it was like as we travel, and again, if we go and visit different people, it can be hard. As a friend lives at Ludlow, which is about hours north of here, and their home, even though they have cable, is about 6 miles change. I tested their internet getting 0.3 megabits a second down, so it was like almost like dial-up. So it changed depending on the house. The other thing that's interesting is with my phone. Interestingly enough, you laugh, but I've got I've gone back to an iPhone now for the last 5. So it's going to be an interesting transition when I come to my Android, which I'm quite looking forward to actually. But the internet connectivity self is much worse here in England than it is in the United States, from what I've experienced, which again surprised me. We left earlier than that. I mean, I think some years back, England has been a pioneer of cell phone technology, and I just sort of imagined and anticipated probably 4G everywhere, and there's almost no 4G anywhere other than in London, something like a couple of other big cities, and the speed that you can get, it's shocking. I mean, it's 3G. I mean, technically it is, but the speed that you get is just appalling. And I think that's probably because there's so many people, and all with cell phones is just so overloaded. The cell phone, the amount that that the cell phone company is quite expensive. I'm only paying $20 a month for unlimited internet, limited text, and I think 1,000 minutes. That's not on a contract, so that's a very cheap rate, if you will. But the flip side is you get rubbish. I'm almost saying
so
I'd rather
you get
pay
what you
more.
pay for? Is that what you're saying?
You do. Yeah, you absolutely get what you pay for. It's what a concept. And having we took Ali, my daughter, for her 8th over to Europe, as we call it here in England, and we visited. We were on a driving tour for 4 days, Belgium, to Paris, and to Amsterdam, and almost the entire way we got really, really good, solid 3G, very fast. So again, it's with England. But if you planning on visiting England, then you're going to have to think carefully. If you're looking to stream movies, that type of thing, because that's a hard thing to do here.
Now, you say you're using your iPhone rather than your Android. You want to explain a little bit more? Why, or what?
Right.
What did you have to do to the phones to be able to use it there?
Yeah, that was an interesting little exercise, or big exercise, I should say. So, back in the US, I have a Motrax HD with Verizon, which I like. It's running on the Android operating system, which I've come to like more as a bit of an app, but I think it has some really nice features. Now, when I came over to England, that wasn't going to work because the Verizon is a CDMA, so it's just not cool. Is the main, even if you were with AT&T, and unless you're fortunate enough to be able to get a very attractive plan, it's generally better to look at called service can. So what I did is I just happened to have an old iPhone 4, which I had brought with me, and I did is went to one of the stores here, and for paying, you pay, how much did I pay? Maybe like $50, and they'll lock for me, because most phones that you buy are locked to a particular carrier, and this one was locked to AT&T, and it's above board, and what happens is they contact AT&T and they pay a little bit of that money, and AT&T unlocks it, and then I in a SIM of mine, which is a local SIM. So the one that I'm with is a company called giffgaff, which is quite intensive, as I mentioned. Pop the SIM in, and that gives me a local UK telephone number. So now, when I make calls to the UK from my cell phone, it's at a local as opposed, I was trying to use an American phone. Even if I was calling a house that was next door, it would be an international call because my cell phone would, over the route back to the US, dial an international number to that was next door. I wonder why it would work that way. Oh, I know. That's why the way that the cell phone companies make money.
and then your
nice.
Your local UK phone then.
Okay.
Did you have to do anything to make it work when you went to Belgium? Or
so the
other
nice thing
places
is,
in Europe?
other places in Europe, because it's a GSM. If your phone is AT&T, then it will be what we call a GSM phone. It's only Verizon phones that use the technology only works in America. Everywhere else in the world uses GSM. So this phone that I have, when I went over on the tunnel, which was over to France when I got off, and what it did is it was in roaming mode. So it picked up the French the French carrier, and I could make phone calls, and if I allowed my phone to, I could get onto the internet and start using the internet capability. However, that then becomes more expensive because you're in the roaming, and what happens is when you connect to the area, you get a little message which tells you begin to be ripped off by when you access the internet. So what I did is I went settings on my phone, I turned on data roaming, which you can do, but then turned off all of the apps apart from the odd app that I was going to use, which was email to me and Google Maps because I was using navigation. So that worked very well. It was a little bit more expensive than I would have liked. I think it cost me about £10 or maybe like £8 a day, which is about today, for using it to navigate and so on.
Oh, did you use it to navigate?
It was very complete. Yes, and it was awesome in Holland, in France, in Belgium, and it worked a treat. Loved it. But I used Google Maps. I wouldn't touch Apple. Did I say that out loud?
Yes, we love Google Maps. And could you tell that, since you were on roaming, it may have been made more aware. People ask us how much bandwidth does navigating with Google Maps use, and I don't think it's all that much, really, but I don't know for sure. Were you more aware of that?
No, yeah. Not that long. So if I pull up my phone here, I can just have a look and see how much data Google Maps. I'm thinking it was 30 bytes, and I was thinking pretty much for 4 days solidly, pretty much the whole time as well, because for the car, and then when we got wherever we were going, I would put the destination and put it into walking mode, and it would then navigate me as we were walking through the streets of Paris or through the streets of Bruges. So I think a really nice. Plus, the other feature that I like as well is you can actually turn the phone off while you're walking, and then if you make a turn, it will beep to tell you and give you a little text to say turn left, which serves you while you're traveling. Okay, so I've just looked it up. My maps here used what's it? Actually, it's about 40 megabytes. Now, what you can do is, if you're going to be doing what I did and traveling more in Europe, I could a different SIM, more roaming friendly, and cut that cost down by quite a lot. The only problem with that is I would then had a different telephone, and so this app that worked, and it was just easier. I'd rather pay a few extra dollars and just make it a little bit more convenient.
Yeah. Okay. I just have one more question, and then our sound is still kind of bumping in and out a little bit, so it's not the best internet connection, I don't think. So we won't go too long. But one more question is, do you use any public Wi-Fi hotspots like so many RVers do here? And if so, have you used any of your Wi-Fi booster equipment?
Okay. So used quite a few of the local Wi-Fi when we've been traveling. That was I used quite extensive when we were on cruise, because one of the places was Turkey, which was a lot of fun, but because it's outside of the Europe, the roaming rates were more expensive. What I did, whenever we went I would hop onto the internet, and then upload some pictures onto Facebook and check my email and so on. So it worked actually. And in fact, when we went with Ali to Europe, I didn't bother taking my laptop. I just took my iPad, which was a bit worried actually. A bit wrench leaving my laptop behind, still semi-working. But it actually worked very well, and I was able to get connectivity at hotels staying at and internet cafes. So it actually worked very well. Because we weren't traveling in a motorhome or anything available of any of Wi-Fi boosters that TechnoRV has. It wouldn't, just wasn't required.
Is your iPad Wi-Fi only?
Yes, it is, and because I didn't really want to, have the expense of having a plan with it, but it worked pretty well. I was quite pleased with it. Enough to be able to get internet in most of the places, the hotels and what have you that we were staying.
But not actually on the cruise ship, did you?
No, I didn't venture that way. I think you did that, didn't you, when you were on the cruise? I don't know how did that work out for you?
Worthless.
It was horrible.
Worthless and very expensive.
Just a waste of time.
Yeah,
you
buy half an hour and they add on, and it takes you 40 minutes to log on. So it's amazing how much they charge for how little you actually receive. I'm sure it'll get better as we go along.
I asked, though, because I have heard that some cruise ships do have good internet. I'm just waiting to talk to somebody who's actually used such a thing.
Yeah, and those are the same people who were tracking Santa Claus last week. Oh, well. It'll get better. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And to the point where, though, there comes a time where it's actually nice to not be able to get them. So it was even needing to keep in contact with things. I was secretly enjoying not being able to be contacted, or the phone not to be able to receive calls. So one of the people who reached me, I wasn't available, but being selfish, it was a lot of fun.
Yes, and now I know that you and Tracy also use IP phones. Now this is different from your cell phones, right?
Yes, it is. So one of the things that we have is and needed to do, because obviously being here in England, running Techie and need to answer the phone and provide support for our customers. So what we have is our main number, an IP telephone system. And what I can do is, using a portal on the internet, I can configure it to tell it where we are and what to ring. So when we're over in the well, it doesn't matter wherever I am, but I have the option of an IP phone. I forward all of our telephone calls to that IP telephone number, and then I have a little box like if you have a Linksys router or familiar with that sort of box, it's similar to that. Whenever you go and visit somebody, to their Ethernet port on the back of their router, and what it does is it just registers itself with an IP address, and then normal telephone. So this is my TechnoRV telephone while I'm here, and it's just a regular wireless phone into the back of the box that we've put onto the internet, and whenever it rings, I can talk to people in the US for free. So if you call, it gets rid of the internet for free. I can make outgoing telephone calls using that phone to anybody in the US for free. So I like it a lot. Now the interest is, well, it's not interesting. I tried doing the same thing, what's called a soft phone, on my laptop, using the same service. So I got much inferior to going the route with the little box that plugged in. So it kind of makes sense if you want something to do it in hardware, not in software. And so I found the efficiency of the hardware route to be quite impressive, just both the amount of bandwidth that it required, as well as the speed with which it will work. So that was quite a learning for me.
Oh, cool.
Communications and all our gear to make it happen. It is getting better and better and better, though.
It is. It's very. It is. It works. It's so. I can even consider that when it'll try me on the internet telephone, and if I'm not available, it'll then roll a national UK cell phone, which would then ring, and I can then talk to a customer. So that is, I think, very cool.
But the key to all of this, and as is obvious from this broadcast, is internet connection. So we hope that one day the entire planet will be covered with really, really good signal. Oh, where did you go, Jim?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
I've gone to the beach. This is
good for you.
Well,
there'll
we
be
so
no
look
beaching
forward.
for me today. It's just started raining.
Rain? Oh. Well,
Oh yeah, there he has. I can see you've gone to the beach. Nice. Oh, now you've got to a glacier.
Yeah.
You got to play.
Gotta play.
He's just showing off now.
All right. Well, yeah, Jim, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm just really glad to hear from Phil. We're looking forward to a great new year, and Phil and Tracy and Allie will all be in Florida at the Tampa Super Show, the RV Super Show down there. They'll have a booth, and we'll be in there occasionally to swing by and see them. And we're looking forward to, gosh, it seems like it's been so long in some ways, and in other ways it was just, man, it's just crazy. So anyway, I'm just having some fun here.
Yeah, Phil, make
catch
sure
up
to
with you
give a
really
big hug to Tracy.
Yeah, I certainly will do. This has been a lot of fun. It's nice to catch up with you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to find some time when we're back. At least one glass.
At least. Okay.
Absolutely.
At least.
Okay.
All right.
So if you see the Queen, tell her that I said hello.
Oh yeah, I'll tell her King is calling. That's very funny.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready to sign off unless you guys have anything you want to add.
No, that's been great. So it's goodbye from Phil.
Okay, goodbye from Jim.
And this is Chris with Geeks on Tour and TechnoGeeks signing off.